And we are live. Hope your coffee's as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. I really do. I hope you're having a good cup of coffee this morning. You may notice we're starting about 10 minutes late. You could thank the wonderful Texas infrastructure for that. We have been without power for about an hour, but, and ironically, only where I live. Not the entire county, just my substation was without power for the last hour or so. But you know, some people say maybe they're targeting you, maybe they want to keep it, but you know what? Joke's on them. I wake up before the crack of dawn. This show was ready to go. We are fired up. We are ready to get busy. Again, no storms, no nothing. Bright, sunny, beautiful day outside. Not hot, so it's not the power grid is overwhelmed by air conditioning. None of that shit. Just no power. Welcome to Texas. Let's do this. Let's get to work. Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful Sunday outside. Me and little Maya have been out walking several times this morning trying to take care of her business. There will be no Maya in the show today, I must say. I got to tell you up front, Mrs. Texas Paul has enforced the no carpet rule. She is no longer allowed in any room that has carpet in it. So yeah, my office is carpeted. That's why it sounds so wonderful when I talk into the mic. You know, there isn't all this echo and all this. But yeah, poor little Maya's locked in her little mudroom room, and she is not pleased about it. So you may hear some barking and yelping in the background, and I do apologize for that. But you know, hey, I wouldn't want to be locked in the mudroom either. So let's get to work. Let's get busy. I want you to watch this. I always try to present you a lens to look through when we talk about major news stories. I want to set the stage. I want to, again, give you a lens to look through. This is Robert Edward Williams Jr. He is running for governor in the state of Florida. Well, I'll just let him tell you.
Paid maternity leave for mothers?
No, ma'am.
Why do you say that?
Well, you know, when we start supporting stuff, when does it end? You know what I'm saying? Corporations can put that, you know, but I don't know how that goes. But, you know, we live in a generation that's got to work. You know, we keep giving and giving and giving and giving. It comes to a point, when's enough? You know, I understand. I mean, every situation is different. And you can't, it's back to, we don't live in a socialist country. So you can't just give to one individual. You know, it's an economic status. We live in a capitalist country. You know, we got to quit being socialist. So there's some people out there that are wealthy that can do that, but I know many women who have a baby and go to work next day, you know, because they got to pay bills, you know. So you run that socialism kind of stuff. And, you know, yes, we need to spend time with our kids, but obviously you work to get out of poverty, you know, and you got to make that difference. It's sacrifice, you know, and we have to have sacrifice in life, you know.
Okay. That guy's a pastor, for one. Two, he grew up dirt fucking poor. His parents were alcoholics and abusive. And at 32, he discovers Jesus Christ and becomes a pastor. Yeah, that guy is not one of the good guys. He is not. He is not. And what have I been telling you you're going to hear? What have I been telling you you're going to hear? We can't afford you. No, we can't afford you. You want to pop out a baby and take a day off? To hell with you, man. To hell with you, lady. Forget that. That ain't happening. You get your ass back on the assembly line right now. And bring some pads with you. You ain't making a mess in our factory. No, not happening here. That's who these people are. They got all the money. I'm going to talk to you about crypto today. I'm going to talk to you about defense contractors getting a blank check. I'm going to talk to you about a lot of things going on in the world today. When we talk about that, I want you to think about this son of a bitch and his priorities. Oh, you can't give that welfare. That's welfare. No, man. Even cavemen understood. When a woman has a baby, you take care of her for a few days till she can get back on her feet so that she can come back to being a productive member of the society. And hell, she is a productive member of the society. That's the wrong damn way to put it. She just contributed by giving us another member of the society, for Christ's sake. You know, we're acting like we're giving handouts here, man. That's what's wrong with these people. They got all the money in the world for war. They got all the money in the world to hand out to the oligarchs. They got all the money in the world for anything but you. You are too much. The things that you demand, Jesus Christ, you want a day off after having a baby? I tell you what, if Robert Edward Williams, a.k.a. Bobby Williams, they all go by Bobby Williams, shits a bowling ball and shows up to work the next day, I'll agree with him. That is my deal. Y'all, somebody get this to Bobby Williams. You want me, raging liberal Texas Paul, to support your no time off for women that have just had a baby law? You want me to support that? Fine, Bobby. You shit a bowling ball and show up to work the next day, and then we'll talk. Okay? We'll talk. Remember this when we talk about these stories today. I do want to start off with a bit of bad news, and I am sorry. I don't want to bring you down. It is heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking. We all know that former President Biden's been fighting cancer. We thought he had it whipped there for a little bit, but he has not. It has metastasized in one of the worst ways. He has bone cancer now and is in extreme pain. His family's with him to comfort him. But yeah, if you don't know anything about bone cancer, it is completely debilitating. It is excruciatingly painful. A lot of people think of bone, they kind of think of it like rock. You know, it's just a solid thing. It isn't. It's living tissue. There are tons of nerve endings in it, and then there's a skin that covers your bone. It does not stretch. It does not. As the bone swells, that tissue is pulled and stretched. It is loaded with nerve endings. It is incredibly painful. It is not a way I would wish on just about anybody to go. It is not. So yeah, keep President Biden in your prayers and your thoughts. If you're a person that prays, pray. If you're a person like me that doesn't pray, send his family good thoughts, send his family strength. We may be hearing soon that we've lost President Biden. Again, they're doing everything they can to make him comfortable, but this is not something that's easy, folks. It's not. Well, look, we've got other things going on in the world to talk about. I don't want to dwell on that too much. As we get more information, we will share it. This just happened. We've talked for a long time about the fact that Donald Trump, before the dementia, was a stupid man. I mean, he was an idiot. He really was. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and he has been failing for most of his life. He is just a persistent failure. He's just dumb as a box of rocks. He really is. He's easily manipulated. He's got emotional issues. I personally think the guy's a sociopath. He's got problems. He has always had problems. And he is incredibly easy to manipulate. And we've talked about this over and over and over again, that he is Putin's bitch. He is Netanyahu's bitch. They play him like a fiddle. They do, constantly. And he's like Lucy and Charlie Brown with the football. He just goes back and goes back and goes back and goes back. And they constantly make him look like a fucking fool. But yet he keeps going back and back and back. Well, this is today's edition. Donald Trump has been running his mouth a lot. He is desperate over the war in Iran. He is. He's fracturing his base. They're saying and doing everything. The bots have gone active on Facebook. Is just a cesspool right now of bots. It is. They want to talk about anything. They're attacking every group. They're attacking our transgenders, brothers and sisters. They're attacking our LGBT, the rest of the LGBTQ plus community. They're attacking women. They're attacking anybody and everybody, immigrants, anybody and everybody, to try to talk about anything, change the conversation, fill the space with anything but Trump and the Trump regime failures. They don't want you talking about your grocery prices or your gas prices or anything like that. So Trump has been talking about anything that he can to try to pretend that there's something positive coming out of this. And he has been lying through his teeth about Gaza. He has just been telling the entire world that he's made a deal with Hamas. They're going to disarm, that he's made a deal with Israel, and there's going to be just beautiful peace there, and we're going to rebuild Gaza, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be wonderful, better than it ever was before. Yeah, that's just not the case. That's just not what's happening. Hamas hasn't agreed to any deal to disarm or anything like that. And Netanyahu has come out today and told his people, no, there is no deal. There's nothing, no, at all. Yeah. So again, the same situation over and over and over again. Trump says there's peace in Iran, or there's a deal in the Strait of Hormuz, or Greenland, or whatever you want to talk about. Whatever you want to talk about. Trump will say this pie in the sky fantasy land bullshit, and then the people that he's supposed to be talking about will immediately come out and say, no, that's bullshit. That is not happening, and that is that is the case again. That psychopath Benjamin Netanyahu has come out and said, "Oh no, we're no peace deal. We're not pulling out of Gaza. We're not. No, we're going to continue to kick the shit out of these people." That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said. Forgive me, I got to write a note here. Something I want to bring up at the end of the show, and I don't want to forget it. But yeah, that has happened. Again, this morning, Trump humiliates us by being humiliated himself. He is too weak. He is too stupid. He has no idea what the American people's interests are. So he couldn't represent them if he wasn't an idiot, if he wasn't demented, if he wasn't a sociopath, he couldn't do it anyways because he has no idea what your interests are. It doesn't care to find out. It is what it is. But that is not all that has happened today. This happened, and yet not today, but a couple days ago, but it's worth talking about. The Republicans, John Thune, I've told you, John Thune is not your friend. And people are so fast on social media to bitch about Democratic leadership, but you never hear them talk about John Thune. Never. He's the head of the Republican Party. He's the guy that does all of this shit to you. And you never see his name on social media. Never. You'll see the Democratic Party leadership attacked every fucking day. But John Thune, never. People just do not understand filling the space. They do not understand how to motivate voters. They don't understand. They just don't. But it does not stop them from running to social media and pretending that they do. They just did this. That's every Republican except for Murkowski and Collins, and those two are always the two sacrificial jackasses because their bases aren't too happy about this. Every Republican just nominated, just confirmed Todd Blanche to be the 88th Attorney General of the United States. This scumbag is now our Attorney General. That is despite open corruption. That is despite the fact that he is the person that coordinated Trump's cash grab, $1.8 billion cash grab. He's the guy that did all the favors for Ghislaine Maxwell. He's the guy that is making sure nobody in the Epstein files gets prosecuted. He's the guy that is, every one of Trump's crypto scams. He's the one that has run defense for him. He is the guy that enables Trump's corruption openly. And the Republicans are like, yeah, sure, go ahead. That's fine. All the people in the United States of America that could have been attorney general, that are so much better qualified to be attorney general. I will tell you, there are conservatives, there are Republicans out there that were better qualified to be attorney general than Todd Blanche. That had, even though I don't think they have good character, I don't think they're good people. If you had to rate them on a scale, they're better than Todd fucking Blanche. They just are. But this is who the Republicans 100% want in charge. And they want them in charge because of the corruption. This isn't, they are drug. There isn't that Trump is forcing them to. This is who they are. This, if you don't believe me, take a look at their plans. Again, John Thune did this. John Thune and the Republicans in the Senate did this. You have seen the crypto grifts with Trump. You have seen World Liberty Financial and all of his crypto grifts, and the Republicans hand him gift after gift after gift, so that the man, remember, Trump didn't, he used to lie about being a billionaire, and we used to dunk on him for that. He is legitimately a billionaire multiple times over now, because the Republicans in the Senate keep handing him open corruption, and they're doing it again. They're doing it again. This bill outlines all of the regulation for the crypto industry. It legitimizes the crypto industry. Democrats vehemently opposed it because there was nothing in the bill about ethics. There was nothing in the bill about, hey, we here in Congress, as much as y'all like to shit on Chuck Schumer issued a bill through that said members of Congress cannot trade in crypto. They just can't. We passed a bill that said we're not going to do that. They turned around in this bill, and there is nothing about Trump's, having to divest from his crypto investments. No, they're going to allow a guy who's made his billions on crypto just basically on trust me, bro, regulate crypto. And if you think I'm kidding, guess. I'm going to take a sip of coffee, and I want to see it in the chat. This is a roundtable show. We interact with the chat here. There's a reason you want to be in the live chat. Who do you think they're putting in charge of regulating crypto in this bill? A lot of good guesses. A lot of good guesses. A lot of good guesses. Yeah, this bill doesn't establish an agency to regulate crypto. It doesn't put it underneath the control of an agency that already, like the SEC or anything like that. No. It hands regulation to the DOJ and Todd Blanche. The guy that signs off on all of the Trump regime corruption. His personal attorney, who is now the Attorney General, will be responsible for regulating crypto. Yep. That's who these people are. That is who these people are. And it happens every day out in the open. I talk about your job. I talk about the fact that you are the people that need to be controlling the narratives out there. That there are people out there that they're too fucking dumb to be doing this. They just are. They don't understand simple things like filling the space, controlling if you're new to the show, let me explain to you what filling the space is. Okay. You live your life. I mean, you sleep, you eat, you have sex, you have hobbies, there are all kinds of things that you do. You have a job in which you focus on things. There are all kinds of things throughout the day that eat up your time. After all of that, every bit of it, pooping, whatever, Some of us read the news when we're pooping, so that we may not count that on some of us, But whatever you're doing that takes you away from absorbing information, you deduct that from your day. What's left is the space. That is the few minutes a day, and it comes down to just minutes a day that you have to absorb information. All information, everything that you absorb. Of that, a fraction of it will be politics and governing. Some people, that fraction is zero. I mean, it's nothing. There's nothing left. They're the ones that don't know anything or ever. They're always shocked about everything that happens in politics because they had no idea. But what's left there is the space. The Republicans are incredibly adept at filling that space with nonsense. That's why your social media has exploded with all kinds of again, it's James Tallarico headlined an event with a transgender child. I saw that nonsense this morning on Facebook. It's completely fabricated shit. Yeah. It's just one thing after another, but they're filling that space up. Their people only have so much room to absorb information. So you make it a shitstorm where they cannot see through and absorb the information like Trump is fucking your grocery bill. And we're going to talk about another way he's doing it here in just a minute. Yeah. I mean, it's not hard, folks. There's a finite amount of time that you have to do this. And they fill the space. They're very good at filling the space. We're terrible at it because there are so many things we could say. Look at what John Thune and the Republicans just did. Look at what they just did. No, but more often than not, our people are, did you hear about Chuck Schumer and John Fetterman? Well, goddamn, that's all they fill the space with so that they can get a click. That's one thing that you have to fix. You're the people that are out there. You're the smart ones. So when you're on social media and you see Democrats say, hey man, did you hear that John Thune is going to hand Trump another crypto grift? It's like corruption right out in the open. It's up to you to steer those conversations back to Republicans all the time. We have just a few weeks until the election. We need to fill the space. This is the second concept for you new people that need to be hitting the thumbs up button and the subscribe button. The other concept that you need to be keenly aware of that we're very good at here with Coffee with Texas Paul and our community, we're very good at is understanding the concept that people don't vote to say thank you. They vote to say fuck you. Angry people vote. And I've got a story later on today that will prove that point. Angry people vote. Our messaging needs to piss off our base. It does. When you fill the space, it needs to be with stories that piss people off and motivate them. That's what we need to be doing. And that's why I am so honored and privileged to be here with you doing this, because shit like this just happened. This is really happening, folks. Look, when solar and wind and all of that, green energy first came out, do you remember how much a VCR used to cost? I'm talking about in your youth. Do you remember? Just if you could, just post in the comments for people so that they understand. A VCR, some of y'all may not even remember VCR tapes. You're that young. But a VCR player that played VCR tapes, how much did they used to cost? Yeah. That was when they started to get cheaper. I'm seeing it, $400. There you go. That's right. When they first came out, where are you? I see it. I saw you. One of y'all had y'all have good memory. $1,000, over $1,000, $1,500. That's right. That's absolutely right. That is true. When they first came out, they were that expensive. That's the way things work with new technology. It just is. Solar, when it first came out, it was expensive. Man, back in the 80s, when you saw somebody that had solar panels on their house, they had money. They did. They had money. Not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. That's just not the case. It just isn't the case. The manufacturers have gotten much better at sourcing the materials they need to manufacture these things. The factories have become more efficient. Everything, just like when VCRs, by the time the VCR technology died, you could buy a VCR at Walmart for $20. You could buy one for $20. They started out over 1,000. So yeah, same thing with flat screens. Same thing with flat screens. They keep trying to come up with new technology every year to keep the price of those flat screens up. But the LED screens used to be incredibly expensive to manufacture. They used to be super expensive. Now you can get a flat screen for a couple $100. I'm talking about a big one for a couple $100. Yeah. They're not near now. The latest and the greatest, whatever's a QLED, OLED, whatever LED that is the latest and the greatest, 8,000K, whatever, that one's going to be $1,000+ But a really good one that's 65 inches, you can get that for a couple $100. They were thousands. They were $5,000, $8,000 just a few years ago. But now they're cheap now. Same thing happened with solar. That's my whole point. The same thing happened with solar. Green energy, okay? We have ever expanding energy needs. We do. We just do. That's why, we need to constantly be looking at our power infrastructure. Green energy used to be really expensive, and we were trying to save the planet. So we were bearing the brunt and the cost of it. In the beginning, it wasn't cheaper. It was more expensive. And that was the one argument that the conservatives had, was it was more expensive. Not anymore. It is cheaper to build windmills or solar farms or power your home with solar than it is to build a traditional power plant. Whether it be nuclear, whether it be natural gas, or even dirty coal plants, it's actually cheaper to do it with solar or wind. And all over the country, you've seen like these little hillbilly solar farms propping up. People have figured out, hey man, I can build a solar farm, invest, 30, 40, 50 grand and build me a little solar farm here and sell power back to the power company. Well, and make money at it. Well, the first thing they did here in Texas was you can't do that. You can't sell that power back to the power company anymore because we got to sell that natural gas, man. We got to sell that natural gas. Well, now they did this. They just kicked solar in the balls. It's immediately going to jump 25 to 30% in cost immediately, overnight. We've talked about that before. When they slap a 15% tariff on something, it ends up increasing the cost more than just that 15%. President Donald Trump announced Thursday that he will set a price floor for polysilicon. Polysilicon is what solar panels are made out of. One of the key components of solar panels and semiconductors, and impose a 15% tariff on products made from those materials. The goal is to make domestic manufacturers more competitive with inexpensive Chinese imports. Bullshit. That is not the reason they're doing this. That is not the reason they're doing this. There will never be competitive manufacturing here in the United States of solar panels. Ever. They can tariff these things and tariff these things and tariff these things. And there never will be. It is to drive the cost of solar up because the people that write him the checks from big oil and the gas companies that want to direct people, they want us stuck with long-term infrastructure that we cannot quickly or easily replace. They want power companies have a lifespan. They must be replaced. They must be expanded because we have an ever-growing need for power. They're going to make sure that they're in your pocket permanently. Permanently. This has nothing to do with boosting manufacturing here in the United States. And it is everything to do with a giveaway to their donors to make sure that your bills are always higher. And Johnny Gotrocks is making profit off of you selling his product instead of you having clean energy with solar. That's one thing. The other thing that they're doing is there will always be people that want to be off grid. There are always people that will want to not be bent over by their power company. There'll be people like me that are trying to scratch the money together to come up with alternative power supplies because I lost power for an hour today because the same people that the Republicans keep coddling and making sure there's no regulation on and making sure they're making the maximum amount of profit off me cannot do the job for fuck all. On a bright sunny day in the morning when it was cool outside, not when everybody was blazing their air conditioners at full power. No, we lost power. We just couldn't make this work. We just couldn't do it. We couldn't. Those fucking people, they're forcing them on us and forcing you to pay Johnny Gotrock's tax burden because that's all a tariff is. It is shifting the tax burden off of Johnny Gotrocks onto you because a tariff is a sales tax that you cannot avoid. It's that simple. That's what they're doing. That is what they're doing. That is what they're doing. And I've got to tell you, folks, everybody warned them. Everybody warned them that this was a disaster. It is a dumb thing to do. It is. It is a dumb thing to do. The oligarchs are going along with it because, hey, yeah, it's shifting more taxes on you. They've always said that's what needs to happen. They need to take more from you. Remember old Bobby Williams in the beginning of the show talking about you can't have a day off after having a baby. No, you're too fucking expensive. You are. They believe that shit. That is at their core what they believe. Well, we got another economic red flag today. And I've been warning you. I've been telling you. We keep getting them. Things keep happening. We keep seeing those dominoes lining up and falling that are leading to an economic collapse. We're talking about a massive implosion. There are certain things that happen along the way. We just had a brand new one happen. And we got to talk about it. And again, we don't fearmonger here. We will survive this. You will survive this. It's going to suck. It's going to suck for everybody. But you will be okay on the other side of it. But yeah, we just got another glaring red flag that the economy is in the shitter. It is literally grinding to a halt. Whenever one of these big disasters happen, whenever one of these big economic disasters happen, there are a couple things that happen. One is, you know what, before we talk about this, let's talk about the other. One is your animal shelters explode in population. The Longview, Texas animal shelter is having they're waiving their fees. They are waiving their fees. When I adopted Maya, I paid $100, and it was well worth it. They chipped her, they spayed her, they handed me a big bag of dog food. She said, "This is what she eats. Don't upset her stomach by changing food. Keep feeding her this for a while." Just one thing after. They were amazing. They were fucking amazing. They really were. That $100 was the best money I've ever spent. I tell you, I just cannot rave about them enough. But they've had to waive their fees because the population at their shelter is just exploding. And that's what happens when the economy takes a downturn. That is one of the red flags that we look for. Are people surrendering their dogs? Are people that are losing jobs surrendering their dogs? Are people being forced to move and can't take their pets with them? That's one massive red flag. I want you to check with your local shelter and verify what I'm telling you. They are overflowing right now. They are. That is just one of the horrible things that's going on. This is the other thing. There are multiple things actually that happen, but this is another glaring red flag. Workers disappear. Workers disappear. Now, the media is all over this story. Normally I say they won't talk about it, but they're all over this story, and they're trying to bullshit people. They are trying to bullshit people. They are. And I'm going to say kudos to the Washington Post for not going the way the rest of the media is going. The way the rest of the media is going is saying, well, this is happening. See, even though we lost 20,000 jobs last month, and even though they had to revise the numbers down to only creating 20,000 jobs the month before, even though it takes 220,000 plus jobs per month just to keep up with population growth, even though none of that maths and unemployment should be skyrocketing, it did not. It actually dropped a point. And the Republicans are running around saying, woo, unemployment came down. Look at us. We did it. No, that is fucking terrifying. That is terrifying. That is one of the huge red flag indicators that we are much closer to a collapse than we thought. You know, I told you before, let's like, you know, you look at the 2007, 2008 collapse. It looked like it happened overnight. It didn't. It took 6 months of one thing after another before we hit that point of no return. And then after we hit the point of no return, it was still another 6 months before everything ground to a halt. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. I'm trying to sound the alarms as they're happening. And this is a big one. This one, you know, Enron did not, people think that happened overnight. It didn't. Enron took almost 2 years to finally unravel. This is the kind of thing that happens right before the fit hits the shan. It is. And if you look at this headline, kudos to the Washington Post here for talking about the actual problem. The percentage of Americans, you see the original headline is unemployment improved because thousands of workers disappeared. Where did they go? The rest of the media went with, they retired. Yeah, we're an aging population. They retired. The Washington Post did the journalism. They dug into it and said, no. A huge percentage of the people that disappeared from the workforce are 25 to 54 years old. And that is terrifying. That is terrifying. That means that there are good, able-bodied people that want to work that have given up. They're done. They have readjusted their lives. They've moved in with family. If they're living with mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, they're reassessing. They've dropped completely out of the workforce, which means that they're going to try to do something like go back to school or something like that. They just vanished. That always happens right before the fit hits the sham. That is one of the things that you will look back in 2 to 3 months from now, you will look back and say, oh yeah, I remembered. Even though we weren't creating jobs, unemployment dropped. That is a terrible, terrible thing. Another, we talked about another indicator. Bond yields are falling. Even though the economy is clearly in trouble, bond yields are falling. That's also a red flag indicator. That means people that are in the know are moving to the safety of bonds so they don't have to make them very attractive right now. There's just red flag after red flag after red flag after red flag. And I'm telling you folks, the media is just, I don't even know the right word. I don't even know the right word. It's so morally bankrupt what they're doing. The fact that they're just not telling people, and they're pretending as though you can't see it. They're pretending as though you can't see it. And some of them, like you got Kevin O'Leary, the data center guy out in Utah, the Shark Tank guy that everybody hates now with an extreme passion. He's sitting there trying to explain it. Because these people that are part of the Trump regime, these people that are the oligarchs on Wall Street, these people they really have no clue. They do not understand why you're not spending money. They don't get it. Life is so good for them right now. You know what? Let's take a peek at the Dow. Let's take a peek at the Dow real quick. And we'll come back to Kevin O'Leary. Over the last week, the Dow took off. Johnny Guy Rocks, that's all he sees. He's making money, man. He's rolling. He is rolling. He's got an administration that won't tax him, won't regulate him. His businesses, they're all doing great, except for the fact that he can't get you to spend money, and he has no clue why. None whatsoever. And it takes Kevin O'Leary to stand up and tell these people, yeah, you're doing great, but most of the country ain't. Inflation is killing these people. Fuel prices, food prices, energy prices, insurance, transportation. Every input into your life is more expensive. You can't afford it because your wages did not go up. It feels like shit because it is shit. And it's literally taking somebody like Kevin O'Leary to explain to these people And that to me is just terrifying. It's just terrifying that these people are so out of touch that they have no idea. They're so out of touch that you've got a candidate running for governor that pretends to be, he's one of those pretend fucking Christians saying, you don't need no damn maternity leave. You just get up, go to work the next day. I've seen women do it. Yet here we go. Here we go. You know, you're going to have people. I'm telling you, you've got to be the smart people in the room. You've got to control the conversations. You cannot let people sit on social media and shit talk Democrats. We are too close to the election. We have got to elect Democrats. We do. Rich, thank you for sharing the memberships. You're incredibly generous. Thank you for always being here. You and Chandra are always here with the support. I'm super grateful to you. I am. E.T., in several of Hunter's recent interviews, he has spoken out about his dad's stage 4 cancer. The question is, will Joe make it to one more Christmas? We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Miss Noni, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a member. Diane Bree Garage. Hey, Texas Paul, I wish Uncle Joe the best. I hope he is not in pain. He was a great president, passed a lot of legislation for us. I hope he's at peace. I think that's the sentiment just about everybody has but MAGA. ET used to be before unions and all, pregnant women might actually go into labor on the production line. That's what they're trying to take us back to, people. Silly Bebo, good to see you. He and his ilk better expect less children being born. Flipping doo-doo head. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the net result. An aging country that does not have the population to support itself, that needs immigrants, is both attacking immigrants and the people that give birth. God, these people, and nobody understands why these people fail every time they have power. Come on, people. Come on. Jordan B. Miller, we are with President Biden. Amen, brother. Amen. Monica Meadows, I worry that after the midterms, when the big shit bill finally makes its full changes, that the stupids will blame the Democrats. We need to get the message out that it was already in the passage. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. E.T., it is what had taken my mom along with Alzheimer's. I am sorry. I am sorry. Bone cancer is horrific. Chandra Patton. Too bad men don't have to deal with the pain of giving birth. Had a male co-worker who passed a kidney stone in the bathroom in our lab. He screamed like he was dying. Needless to say, the women had lots to say. Yep. I'm telling you, these sons of bitches disgust me. They really do. The lack of empathy and the sheer stupidity just disgusts me. Sharon Butler, gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, Sharon, for always being here. Thank you for supporting the show. Kyra loves Michael. Texas Paul, I fear how Trump will behave when Uncle Joe passes. I shiver at the thought of the post. Also, he better lower the flag. Oh, you know it. You know damn well. You know damn well. He's going to be the shittiest shitbag. He is. He is going to be the shittiest shitbag, most ungracious piece of shit. He can't help himself. He can't. He's just a sociopath that way. Godcat926, thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for being here. Oregon Wine Lady, have you seen what El Trumpo is trying to build a wall right through a pristine area of Big Bend Park in Southwest Texas, area where it's least needed because of geography? I know. We talked about the show so many times. This is an ecological disaster. Animals don't know about your invisible line on a map. They don't. They don't know about your invisible line out there. They don't. They don't give a shit about it even if they knew about it. Kathleen Blaze, good morning prayers for Joe Biden to get some comfort. Blanche better pay during his life. Yeah. And they'll get away with it if we do not take power from them. If we do not hand the Democrats immense power and demand this, never stop demanding that these people be held accountable, they will get away with it. They will. Blanche is a walking lawyer joke. Yep. Amen. Steve Pift, Republicans are corrupt as fuck. They are. They are. Rock and Ron, gotta love Katie Fang. Yes, you do. She's done an amazing job with the Epstein file. Kitsy Cat. And that's something that is pending. There's more information that's going to be coming out from the Epstein file. Kitsy Cat, thank you. Thank you. Corey, good to see you. He wants to take away states' rights on abortion. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Kathy Young, Trump can't fire Blanche because he knows everything. Blanche can't quit or he goes the way of Jeffrey's cronies. I'm telling you, those are two peas in a pod. If you don't think Blanche is every bit as corrupt and disgusting as Donald Trump, you're not paying attention. Steve Piff, Todd Blanche is worse than Nixon's John Mitchell, and I hope he spends more time in jail. Wesley Saul, thank you for being here. Glad to see all the new members. Millennial David, speaking of pissed off voters, I think my generation of millennials is extra angry given Bush and now 2024 election shock, trying to be optimistic here. I am really hoping that young people are seeing this. The problem is there are too few people out there that understand Republicans control all three branches of government. They still run to social media. Well, what are the Democrats doing? We don't control fucking anything. If you want to do shit, you have to run shit. The people that are, giving you that's the Republicans. That's the Republicans. I get morons in my state complaining about Democrats. Really? Really? This state's been run by Republicans for damn near 30 fucking years. Every problem that exists is due to them. Linda Orndorff, Trump is making solar more expensive because all these states are passing plug-in solar bills. It is currently legal in about 7 to 8 states. Yep. Dragon Trick Rider, welcome. Glad to see the new members. Glad to see. Donna DeJoya, good to see you. This will not help domestic manufacturers if they even exist anymore. The manufacturers are the ones who need the polysilicon. Yep. Mr. Knudsen, is Rump not building 2 new coal power plants? It's like building telephone booths on every corner. Bring back the horse, ban the car. So stupid. It is stupid. It's idiotic. Wendy Bauman, why is Texas not on the national grid? Corruption. A little organization called ERCOT wants to be their own. We are our own power grid, the state of Texas. Paulette Tansel, thank you for gifting the memberships. Republican rule, that is why. Silly Bebo, Waxahachie and Red Oak are waiving fees too. Good to see it. New West Bill, I remember the work slowing drastically just before 08. Yep. It's happening. Colleen Sarah, local NPR talked about this Sunday morning. Call it a no hire, no fire job market. Young people can't find jobs. Yep. Independent. Good to see you. Independent 996, 7-month member. Glad to see the longtime members. Skeet Sayre, even on NBC, a Yale student broke down that Americans are paying over $1,100 per household per month thanks to Trump. Yep. And the Broligarchs, they're happy about it. They're ecstatic about it. Mr. Knudsen in the house. Good to see you, sir. Good to see our Norwegian friend in the house. Surveys show over 60% of U.S. workers struggle to cover basic monthly expenses as wage growth trails historic inflation. Credit delinquency are climbing as lower income households exhaust savings. Yep, because what happened? Everybody went to credit card. This is normal behavior. When Republicans get in charge, all of a sudden you end up with a deficit in your household that you didn't have anymore. You're not making any money. Everybody starts racking up massive credit card debt, but that runs out. And when it runs out, it all comes tumbling down. Every damn time Republicans get elected. Never Again Moss Landing. Welcome. Glad to see the new members. Jeremy Breeden, thank you for always supporting the show, sir. Thank you. Skeet Sayer, Mamdani is showing the right way. They are so confused that they attack him. Just look at Cruz and his Thanksgiving fear mongering. Yeah, that's the stupidest shit. If you haven't seen it, because the attack on Christmas is always so stupid, it's so tired. Oh, let's bitch about Starbucks' cup because it's not Christmassy enough, even though it's a fucking Christmas cup. These have become so absurd and so tired. The new one is Thanksgiving. The Muslims are coming and they're going to take your Thanksgiving away. Muslim Americans celebrate Thanksgiving. One, it's a secular holiday. Two, it's a national holiday. It's an American holiday. The Canadians also have a Thanksgiving. I am aware that Canadians also have a Thanksgiving. But what we celebrate here in the United States is an American holiday. This is not a religious holiday. It has nothing to do with religion. And Muslims carve up a turkey too. Really going to blow your mind when you find out that there are Muslims that celebrate Christmas, because it's secular for most people too. Might as well call it winter solstice, Saturnalia. It's not a religious holiday for most people. It's just not. It's going to blow your mind when you find out. Yeah, Linda Orndorff. People are also getting crushed by climate catastrophe costs. I just spent $4,000 to cut down healthy-looking trees that are rotting and hollow inside. Yep. This, we warn people about global warming. This shit ain't free. What did Republicans do? What did immoral Republicans do? Everybody wants to blame this on Trump. This was before Trump. When we tried to warn them about global warming and the costs that we're all going to face as a society, what did those motherfuckers do? They ran out and bought Ford Excursions. Y'all remember that shit? They went out and bought Ford Excursions, a vehicle that got 8 miles to the damn gallon just to prove a point. People that didn't need massive family haulers went out and bought Ford Excursions. That's how shitty these people are. WKR, glad to see you here. Glad to see the new memberships. Thank you. Glenn Kaneko, thank you for being so generous and gifting those memberships. If you want those memberships, they're out there. They're free. All you have to do is make sure your settings in YouTube are set so that you can receive gifts, and YouTube will give you one. Skeet Sayer, Blanche will ensure that we win back the Senate. As life becomes harder, the people will not be in control by propaganda. Peter cried wolf. ET, messaging people, affordability instead of culture wars, United States instead of APAC. Are you ready to get involved? When we do the work gets done. Thank you for always being here, ET. Tube Kurt, the one good thing about all of our norms being shattered is that the next dim leadership is not handcuffed by them and can unclutch the pearls. That will take us being loud. What the Democrats, many of them believe, is that we want to return to the status quo. We want to return to normalcy. They think that's what we want after Trump. That is not the case. That is not what people want. People want the Democrats to use the same type of leverage to not jump on the high road, to do everything necessary to push our agenda. That's what people want. Madam Relisa Dufiles. Joe Biden was a legislative pro. He sponsored 1,000 bills in his lifetime. Trump is too dumb and lazy for such a feat. Yep. Libby G. Morgan. Welcome. Glad to see the new members. A couple more and we're going to get back to work. Jordan B. Miller, the Texas State energy sucks. It does. It does. Our energy grid is laughable. Tiger Butterfly, did you hear what Bastrop County did? Yeah, they held a meeting about a data center 100 miles away from Bastrop so that the people of Bastrop couldn't attend. Yeah, that's what the county commissioners did down in Bastrop. They held a meeting about a data center 100 miles away from Bastrop. Tony Hampton, thank you for being here. Thank you. Jordan B. Miller, to be fair, Christmas is taking over Thanksgiving. It sort of is. It sort of is. They don't wait till after Thanksgiving. That used to be the way it was. If you're young, you probably have never seen this in your lifetime, but we used to have a full Thanksgiving. We had Halloween with no Thanksgiving. Then after Halloween, the day after Halloween, Thanksgiving, up until Thanksgiving, till November, and when we had Thanksgiving, that was the holiday season. And then the day after Thanksgiving was a massive shopping day for Christmas, and all the Christmas ads came out. That's the way it used to be. Now it's like, we already got the October stuff out. I kid you not. If you haven't been shopping, the Halloween stuff is in all the stores, and it is August. It is summer. It really is. It is. It just is. All the holidays are moving farther and farther forward. It's just mind-numbing. It is just mind-numbing. Well, let's get back to work, folks. Let's get back to work. There's more to talk about. There is more to talk about. I want to talk about just two more negative things. And then we're going to talk about some positive stuff, and we're going to have one funny story. So stick with me. Stick with me. About the economy. Stanford Report is a good read. It's one of those things you have to go look for. They don't really advertise it. It's not something you're going to see on social media. But Stanford Report is a good read. It's from Stanford University Press. It is a good read. They talk about things in non-part. This is what's happening, people. And they're talking about the disconnect between Wall Street and the Dow and the economy. Now, to give you some idea, because we forget, we've got short memories. About 6 months. People know this. About 6 months. That's why Republicans, when they want to do something really unpopular, they know they've got to get this done 6 months before the election, because by the time the election rolls around, nobody will remember. 6 months is about the window. I want you to look at the date. I highlighted the date on this article. It's October 14th, 2025. They are talking about the exact same thing that is happening right now today. It is still going on. And that is just testimony. That is just testimony to what a shit job our mainstream media is doing. They've been talking about this since well before October of last year. There's a complete disconnect between Wall Street and what's going on in mainstream America with the economy. And they're pretty straightforward about it. According to Perron's research, the equities boom has less to do with innovation and more to do with wealth being concentrated in the hands of the established corporate giants. He finds that innovative ideas have become harder to find. Companies have scaled back on R&D and are focused on buying up their rivals. It's exactly what I told you 2 shows ago. The reason Wall Street is so disconnected from reality is they have concentrated so much wealth into so few people's hands that they don't have to acknowledge economic realities anymore. They can literally manipulate the market. They have so much concentrated wealth. They can make the Dow do whatever they want it to do. They no longer are tethered to reality in any way. That is a broken system. That is a completely broken system. That is going to require a Teddy Roosevelt level of cleansing. I don't know if y'all are we've got a whole lot of history buffs in here, but when Teddy Roosevelt took office, he came in and he went after corporate America because it was so corrupt that it had detached from reality, and it was just destroying everyday life for Americans. We need another Teddy Roosevelt presidency. We just do. Because you cannot govern from fantasy land. You can't. It always leads to disaster. It always leads to disaster. And a perfect example of that is this. And folks, I want to give you a pro tip. If you ever want to try to do this, do what I do here. I could sit here and I could do what most people do, and it just annoys the piss out of me when they do this. Most people's shows, they will just tell you, oh, this happened. Trust me, bro. I'm a good source of information. Okay, that's a good thing to build up trust and everything. It is. But show them that there are other sources of information out there that agree with what you're saying. Pull up a headline. Pull up a headline. Whenever you've got something that's happened, that's breaking in the news or whatever, pull up a headline when you do this so that people see, oh, this. And then when they think about it later on and they want to tell their spouse about it or whatever, they can come back to the show, zip through, just pull the whatever the hell the damn thing's called, where you can move along the show at the whatever pace you want, pull it along until you get to the headline. And then you could just Google this headline and see all the different people talking about this. This is a nightmare, people. We've talked about the economic mess the United States government is in, the amount of debt that Trump has just heaped upon us. He is writing a blank check to the defense industry. I talked about this. Why is the Iran war going on? Because of the people that are profiting from it. Trump has very much decided he doesn't care what the repercussions of the Iran war are. He doesn't care if it bankrupts the country. He doesn't care what, we talked about this. We could not afford this war. They're going to come at you and say, you can't have your Social Security. You can't have your Medicare. You can't have your maternity leave. You can't have anything. You're too expensive. That's what they're going to come and tell you. You're too expensive. That's what they're going to come and tell you. Meanwhile, this. Trump cannot negotiate with Iran because Iran has figured out we're out of long-range munitions. From now on, if we want to actually attack Iran, we got to get up close and personal. And that's ugly. And Iran knows it. So what does Trump do? He went to the defense industry. He said, expand your factories. Increase your production capability. The normal lead time of manufacturing these weapons and weapon systems is too long. I want you to move to a war footing. And the defense industry said, okay, that'll cost you. You're going to have to pay us to do it. And Trump and the Republicans have said, no worries, mate. I've already primed the pump. I've told them I want a $1.5 trillion defense budget. In the same breath, they're going to come to you and tell you grandma can't have her Social Security. Grandma can't have her Medicare. We can't have health care in this country. We can't have Medicaid. We can't even have health care for the most vulnerable among us, the children that develop, serious illnesses that end up on Medicaid because their families get bankrupted because of the costs. We can't afford to be human, but we can afford this shit. Blank check. Go ahead, Raytheon. Go ahead, Boeing. Go ahead, General Dynamics. Go ahead, spend whatever you got to spend. We'll cover that. No questions asked. Folks, we cannot afford this. I've never lied to you. I have told you. We have a financial train wreck that is less than 10 years away. Our debt is increasing so much that it's going to cause hyperinflation. Look, let me show you what I'm talking about. This is what happens. This is what happens in this situation. What's happening in Argentina is exactly what I'm describing to you is happening here. That's what we're headed towards. They have spent so much on our military for so long that they've bankrupted us. There's been so much open corruption for so long that we're headed towards hyperinflation. And people like Mitch McConnell, who knew they would be dead soon, didn't care. John Thune knows 10 years, probably won't be here. You have to care. You have to care. We have to elect people that will say the unthinkable. We will no longer write checks to Israel. We will no longer write blank checks to the military, to the defense industry. We will no longer have a massive military that is larger than the next 26 nations combined. We won't do that anymore. Not going to happen. That's where we are. Or the answer is we become third world. We become less than Mexico. Forgive me, I got allergies are acting up or something. I've got itches off my nose and we'll become less than Mexico. And they're going to tell you, the Republicans are going to come to you and tell you, you've got to take the hit. It's all you, man. The entitlements, because, they focus group the word entitled and it has a negative connotation to it. Entitlements are just, if you pull into the drive-thru at McDonald's, you order what you want, then you drive to that first window and you hand them your credit card or your cash and you pay for it. Well, that value meal that you just ordered just became an entitlement. You paid for it. You're entitled to it. That's all that means. That's all it means. You paid for it. You're entitled to it. But they say entitlement like it's a privilege or something. No, taking care of grandma is not a privilege. That's human decency. Providing health care for people, so that, just what cavemen did. Cavemen understood this. It's just basic decency. It's the minimum of humanity. But they're going to tell you that's too much. That's too much. We got to give more to Johnny Got Rocks and the Broligarchs and the defense industry, and we got to pay them all. That's what's important. That's what's important here, folks. And they're doing it right in front of you. They really are. Meanwhile, we have this cluster happening. Oman and Iran are doing their own negotiations. Trump keeps claiming that he's the one doing this, but he's not even, they Jared Kushner and Witkoff and those idiots aren't even part of these negotiations. Iran is negotiating directly with Oman, the country. There's two countries on either side of the Strait of Hormuz. There's Iran, and Oman. They're making a deal. But Iran is being quite open about it. They want reparations for this. And they want every American ship, whether it be commercial or the United States Navy, gone from the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. That is one of their demands. I've told you, folks, this was idiocy. There isn't a damn thing we can do about it. Nothing. And we're even running out of munitions, folks. We're going to have to shift to a full wartime economy. And I don't think there's anybody alive that understands what that means. We didn't do that during the Iraq War. I mean, wow, people. I mean, just wow. This is really happening. This is really, really happening. That's the serious stuff I have for you today. That is the serious stuff I have for you today. I've got a couple other things that are, one that is very heartening, and one is just going to be like, you're going to say to yourself, really? Yeah. Trust me. I want to catch up on a few comments, and then we're gonna do our last two stories. We're an Idaho liberal. Your dog looks like my mother's dog. Give her a cape. The ride or die mutt. Yeah, I hear you, brother. I hear you. I love little Maya. She has just wiggled her way into our hearts. Skeet Sayer, as I have said, data centers are one of the greatest weapons. The idiocy of them is making people in red states vote blue. Don't be surprised if Utah becomes blue. I tell you what, I'm not getting my hopes up, but I know we need to keep banging away on that. We're cracking a few independents away. Independents are breaking like 60-40 for Democrats right now. Skeet Sayer, based on what you're saying, you should highlight Russ Vought once a week. Yeah, no shit. Kathy Young, when they say the economy is great, it's because they can pay for anything they want. We can't afford what we need. Amen, sister. Amen. Skeet Sayer, exact same thing happened in the 80s. Wall Street exploded while Reagan's 18% base rate almost killed the Western economy. Every damn time. Skeet Sayer, he cares. He just doesn't know what to do. It is why he is attacking Keg's breath. You're talking about Trump. Trump does not care. Trump does not care. Not in the slightest. Veggie Owl Girl. If I remember correctly, the big ugly bill only funded Medicaid until the midterms. My mother has dementia. She has become a violent woman, late stage dementia, and the Medicaid pays for it. What am I supposed to do then? That is fact. They set that bill up to where all of the horrible things that are in it hit after the midterms. Della de la Garza, thank you. Thank you for being here. Because they understand that very point I was making to you about filling the space. There are people out there that won't know. They don't know shit about politics. They can't tell you how the government works in the slightest. You remember the old cartoons about how a bill becomes law? You remember those? They haven't run those in a very long time. There are a lot of people that they have no clue how our government works. So the Republicans set this trap so that all the ugly shit that they did happens after the midterms. So a lot of people are just going to look around and blame Democrats. It will be us. That's what this pen is all about. That's why I keep telling people, no matter what, you got to be Democrat. You got to talk up Democrats. You've got to be team Democrat. You know, I'm doing this there's method to the madness, people. I'm trying to counter these traps that they're laying. ET, when I worked on parts for the PAC-3, it was a 2-year contract that was extended at that time for an additional year. We were near full in Stockton. It is amazing how far we've gone. We just how far we have slipped, how far we have fallen. Dave Barone, thank you for being here, brother. Thank you for supporting the show. Lenore Banks, what are odds Cornyn will be a high-paid lobbyist when he leaves office? Oil industry, military, oh yeah. Cornyn's going to make bank. Angela Perry, thank you for being here. Thank you. Jordan B. Miller, countries are moving away from doing any business in the United States. True that. It's happening. ET, they have been working hard to recreate the economic conditions that had happened in 1930s Germany so that they could get what they want. Get active. Amen. Amen. Well said. ET, it is less than 14 weeks until the general election. Verify your voter registration and deadline dates. Know your early voting dates. Get involved. Tube Kurt requesting 30-second carpet amnesty for Maya Camia. Skeets there. Mexico is already ahead, and she's right. She's right. We need to keep her off the carpet as much as possible. We do. It's just we're trying to be good puppy parents. Skeets there. Mexico is already ahead in some markets. Just look at the fact that Canada not buying U.S. liquor put the biggest producers on their knees. Yep. Ricks, thank you. Welcome. You're welcome. It actually decimated small to mid-size distillers. It did. They really, it just destroyed the small to mid-size distillers. Jeremy Breeden, second largest Air Force in the world is the U.S. Navy. Third largest is the U.S. Army. But feeding kids at school is just too much. Equals Republican ideology. Yep. And we all know it. Silly Bebo. Speaking of Kushner, the EA buyout went through. The Sims players are peeved. The hits just keep on coming from every direction, even from your video game. Skeet Sayer, 28T, the definition of idiocy. Iran was already in a wartime economy thanks to Russo-Ukraine. Yeah, they know where they're sitting. They're a totalitarian government. They've got this. Veggie Olive Girl. I got my first job out of high school, Motel 6. I got paid $5.15 an hour. Oh, she broke. Look how big my girl's gotten. Look how big she's gotten already. In a week, she went from 11 pounds to over 15 pounds in 1 week. Hey, girl, say hi to everybody. Yeah, say hi to everybody. Yeah, that's my Maya girl. That's my girl. That's my girl. Yes, she is. You nervous girl, huh? That's all right. Just hang out with me. We're about to finish up. Veggie Olive Girl. I got my first job in high school, Motel 6. I got paid $5.15 an hour. With the minimum wage was $4 something. 3 decades later, it went up $3. Yep, that is happening. Look how big her head's getting already. That's my girl. Vet said she's on the high end as far as size is concerned. She's not fat either. You can feel her ribs and stuff. She's still very healthy. We just took her to the vet. She's very healthy. Very healthy. Weight wise, build, physique, no parasites. She's doing good. She's doing good. She's doing good. She's just going to be big. Jenny, 2025. Where are all the fraud and waste for Thuglicans when it comes to defense spending? They're MIA. Tremendous wasteful spending for decades. Yep. Yep. Can y'all hear me okay? Let me move this a little closer. That's my girl. That's my girl. Yeah. Joan Hardy, welcome. Glad to see you. Rick's gifted 20 memberships. Wow, the generosity, incredible. Incredible. Ollie, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you, Ollie. Will Trump push the button? He's in a corner. I don't think so. I don't think so, but the amount of lying and the bots have exploded, just exploded. Crafty Ass Gardner, thanks for gifting the memberships. Couple more. We're going to get back to our final two story. Clarence WD, we're running out of conventional weapons. The non-conventional arsenal is what really gives me pause with Trump. I hear you. I hear you. I do. Skeet Sayer, we need civics and effing elementary schools in the USA. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Melissa Boker became a member. Welcome. Glad to see the new members. Melissa Grubb, if you live in a state where there's a proposal to limit PAC money in elections, make sure it passes. Even the MAGA cultists want money out of politics. Hermano Delphi, good to see you. I am white knuckling it until November. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. But that doesn't mean you give up. That doesn't mean you give up on your beliefs. It does not. It does not. When we win the majority, we keep pulling left on that party. We keep pushing for the things that we believe in. We just keep at it. Just keep at it. Gabby, thanks for gifting the memberships. Thank you. Skeet Sayer, animals remind us of what's important. Yeah. Donald Thompson, yo, I'm a black veteran of Jamaican descent in Miami. I'm feeling kind of hopeless right in Miami. Where's the news coverage of the midterms going on right now in Florida? Us black people need support. I hear you, man. I hear you. I hear you. I really do. You know what? One of these stories, I'm gonna put you down, okay? Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. I gotta finish up the show. Daddy got to finish up his work. Say bye-bye. Show him the big ears. Show him the big ears. Show him the big ears. Yeah. Yeah. Show him your gremlin ears. That's my girl. That's my girl. Here you go, honey. All right. That's my good girl. That's my good girl. Yeah. Before we get to the really good news on the voting stuff, let me show you. This is just I don't have a segue to put there's no connection, but this is really happening. When I talk about Maryland, what do you think of? If somebody says, "Hey, tell me what you think of when we talk about Maryland," what do you think of? She has no idea who I'm talking to. She has no idea who I'm talking to. She's like, "What? Me? What?" DC, Baltimore, crab rolls. Yeah. Yeah. Tea, education, Westmore, and basketball. How many of you think about wildlife? No, I'm not talking about crab sandwiches, soft shell crab sandwich. I have been told that I have to put on my bucket list to take Mrs. Texas Paul. She has never had a soft shell crab sandwich, and we are going to go do that's on our bucket list. Okay. How many of you think of wildlife? Not me. Not me. Well, this is Cunningham Falls State Park. It is a beautiful place. It is. I can't wait. I'm going to show you. It's full of streams. It's full of streams. It's full of rivers. It's full of lakes. Cunningham Falls State Park. It's one of the places that people go for foliage watching in the fall. Folks, this is just a few months away. We made it through another year. This is just a few months away. My favorite time of year, pumpkin pie time, pumpkin spice time. Just a few months away. Yeah, Cunningham Falls State Park. Beautiful place. But there is wildlife there. There is wildlife there. This is because I'm not kidding. Global warming is causing diseases that are normally not as prevalent in nature to become much more prevalent in nature. This is where we're talking about. This is, I'm not joking. When I say there's wildlife in Maryland, there's wildlife in Maryland. There is. Just like every other state in the union, man, they've got chipmunks and squirrels and coyotes. And, oh, man, we got a big-ass coyote out back. I'm very worried about Maya. I caught her on the camera. She is got to be 60 pounds, and that is huge for a coyote. Coyotes are not normally big like domestic dogs. This coyote has to be 60 freaking pounds. She's huge. But, yeah, they've got coyotes there, deer, fox, possums, and beavers, all kinds. Maryland does have rural areas with all this stuff in it. And this is the area we're talking about. Let me pull the map up. Let me go. I'll drop the texture off so that you can see the area we're talking about. Here's Washington, D.C. Cunningham Falls State Park is up north. By the way, if you ever get a chance to go to Gettysburg, go. It's up near the Pennsylvania-Maryland border, up near Gettysburg. It is beautiful. And they're having to shut parts of the park down. They are. They're having to shut parts of the park down. Yes, I realize this is the Sun, but there are other more mainstream, legitimate news outlets that are warning people about this. People love to just get out and nature hike. And so this is a very popular park in northern Maryland. And they have a massive rabies outbreak. And these beavers are chasing people down and attacking them. I'm not even kidding. I mean, I want you to picture that. You're out on a nature trail. Oh, look at that baby. Wow, that beaver's coming over here. Oh, that's a big beaver. Oh, holy shit. They're literally coming out of the water and attacking people. Beavers. Yeah. They've had to shut down big sections of the park while they try to get this under control. And it's global warming, people. It is. We talked about all the costs of global warming. You remember James Imhoff standing on the floor of Congress with the snowball and his idiocy, and we kept telling him, no, there are all kinds of complications from global warming, from food production to diseases to, yeah. The goddamn beavers are so rabid, they're literally chasing people in Maryland parks. For some reason, I told you so just doesn't feel so good right now. Just doesn't feel so good right now. I told you you're going to be like, what the hell? Well, what? Really? What? I know that's where I was when I knew I had to put it in the show. I knew it didn't follow any of it, didn't segue off of any of it, but damn. But I promise you something good, and I've told you over and over again, this is a backlash election. And we need to be fomenting that backlash. That needs to be our job. That's your job. Foment that backlash. And it's real. It is real, people. And we keep getting confirmation from it with every election. Voter turnout surges in Tennessee after black majority district erased. And they ain't talking about Republicans. High Democratic turnout in House primaries in Shelby County includes Memphis is the latest sign that redistricting may be energizing black Southern voters. And it ain't just Shelby County and it ain't just Memphis. It is happening nationwide. This is Knox County. This is Knox County. A fifth of active registered voters cast a ballot in 3 Democratic U.S. primaries held Thursday in Shelby County, which includes Memphis. That is more than double the turnout for a similar contest. Then this is actually not Shelby. This is Knox County. This is the turnout in Knox County, which led to this. I keep telling you, get involved locally. Get involved locally. Knox County School Board flipped to a Democrat majority after Brandy Jenkins won a previously red seat. It is county commissioners. It is mayors. It is city councils. It is school districts. It is everything. The momentum is everywhere. It is everywhere. And the way we capitalize, I've been telling you this for a long time. Get involved locally. Get involved with your local party. This is why I want people in place during a backlash election when Trump in D.C. and all those asshats are motivating people to turn out. Move that into local action. Rebuild the party and its power infrastructure from the ground up. Because that backlash, that energy, it doesn't just happen for the top of the ticket elections. It's all the way down. And I just want to reiterate one more thing. One more thing about getting involved locally. It's this. People tell me all the time, oh, Elon Musk is going to cheat. They show up in my comments. They show up Elon Musk is going to cheat. Ain't nothing we can do about it. The fuck there isn't. Or I'll get the people that are like, Paul, what are we going to do? They're going to, they're going to this, they're going to that. Let me just, I talked about this in the last show, and forgive me for talking about it again, but it's important. It's important. This is what we do to counter that. This is, again, why I tell people to get involved locally. The biggest way they're going to cheat is to interfere with your registration. If you're tied in with your local party, you'll get the notification. Hey, they're doing this. They've hit several people in our county. If you're in this area, check your registration. The second way that they cheat out in the open, and Republicans cheat this way every election, and we do not. I do not know why we don't do this. I really don't know why we don't do this. I don't know why. Well, it's because we actually give a shit about democracy, and we don't cheat like this. We don't. But everywhere Republicans are in control, every election they take more and more voting booths away in Democratic areas. Now, I know I explained this in the last show, but it's really tied to this backlash. I want you to put the two and two together. So I'm going to explain it one more time. A voting machine, you've all voted. You've all walked in. You've walked into and you've sat in front of that electronic screen. That machine can only process X number of votes per day, per machine. And that is controlled by how fast voters get through their ballot. So, Republicans lower the number of machines available so they know they will process fewer ballots. It's just math. The other thing that they do is they put ballot initiatives on the ballot. Most of them are dumb as dog shit. We don't want local squirrels to have people put pride bandanas on them. We do not support that. And we have a ballot initiative to declare that we do not believe in transgender or LGBTQ plus squirrels. They're that fucking stupid. They are that stupid. And they're a paragraph about this long. Most of these ballot initiatives are dumb as dog shit. But you have to read it. And most people aren't pre-prepared when they walk into the voting booth. So if they put a dozen of these stupid ballot initiatives, we declare that us as Republicans believe in freedom and we want to protect unborn children with Glocks. The more of these stupid initiatives they put in there, the longer it takes each voter to get through the ballot. And that reduces the number of ballots that each individual voting machine can process in a day. It's just math. It's cheating out in the open. It's just math. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. Somebody get rid of the troll. Ban them from the channel. Just get them out of here. We don't want their stupid shit in here. But yeah, folks, I want you to think about how that ties in with the backlash election. They know you're pissed. They know that they're openly corrupt. They know that you're seeing it all and you're angry about it, and they don't care because they know they're going to cheat right out in the open. There used to be polling places at black universities. Every state where there are, like Howard or anywhere that are black universities or universities that are primarily people of color, they've removed those polling places. And you can't beat math, people. You can't. But what you can do, and this is where I was going with this, in being tied in locally with your local Democratic Party. Your local Democratic Party will put out a vote primer that you can distribute to everybody you know and say, vote this way. Vote this way. So that you walk in and just bip, 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 bip. Nobody's reading 16 paragraphs about gay squirrels and the proclamations on protecting armed unborn children. They're not reading all that shit. They're just Prop 1, this way. Prop 2, this way. Prop 3, this way. It increases your efficiency. It increases the number of people each one of those machines can process through. Democratic campaigns have gotten much better about producing these primers, increasing our efficiency. That's why I say get involved locally. It doesn't mean you've got to become part of the party. It doesn't mean that you've got to take on something else. A lot of people don't have time or the resources to become an integral part of their party. They don't. I get that. But if you're just involved, then by all means, that information will flow to you quickly, directly. Via email, you'll get your vote primer. You can pass that to all your family. That's how we defeat this. That's how we defeat this cheating. Commitment. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. I want to thank the moderators. Y'all are doing an amazing job. Thank you for catching that. Thank you for staying on top of it. I'm going to read a few more comments and then we're going to wrap it up. Melissa Grubb, exactly, Paul. We can't change anything if we aren't the party in power, ride or die. Amen. 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 Holly Hale, vote blue no matter who, people. I'm telling you, folks, during the primaries, fight your ass off, fight for what you believe in. Then we elect the Democrats, and then we don't leave those. If we don't agree with those Democrats, we don't leave them the way they are. We don't give up on our principles. We keep bugging the shit out of them. We keep getting other people in our community to bug the shit out of them so that they understand, yeah, this ain't cool. This isn't going to continue. It doesn't mean you quit. Doesn't mean you give up. Diambree Garage, Paul, in my humble opinion, Trump is intentionally running the USA into depression because the corruption is too much for any sane president to do. He's dead. He's dead, and billionaires are setting up outside the U.S. It's a smash and grab. You know, I don't think I hear what you're saying. I don't think they're intentionally trying to cause the collapse because they get hurt in the collapse too. I think they're so arrogant and detached from reality, and they're so overconfident in their beliefs that, they just think they're right. They're just, trickle down is right. It's obvious to me that if I get more money, everybody's better, right? No, you just don't see everybody else. Bonita Pajarita, good trouble. John Lewis, also love the Texas Paul family pup with the gremlin and Grogu ears. Love all sorts of animals. Glad you're here. Thank you for always supporting the show. Thank you. Skeets here. This is why this show is church. God is going to punish humanity for worshiping machines that shoot metal slugs while nature is so full of wonder. I am telling you, folks, we've got to, it won't organically just move out there. It won't. We've got to push it out there. ET, did you see the story about dozing of Texas state parks? Yes. Yeah, I have. Skeet Sayre, best news of the week is Pearson won his primary in Tennessee. Yeah, that was good news. Skeet Sayre, Trump's brain is pudding. It is humorous seeing the media trying to normalize it. They don't care. They don't care. Veggie Owl Girl, everyone who has a good car, drive people back and forth to the polls or bring water. Do what you can. Exactly. Do what you can. Silly Bebo, they lowered the amount of polls in Tarrant County. Yep. Tarrant County went solid blue, and then all of a sudden, we got too many polling places there. Reuben Michaels, thanks for being here, brother. Good to see all the long-term members. Kathy Young, your thoughts on Hobbs choosing Giles as a running mate? I don't know at this point. I know you're never supposed to say I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll look into it, and I'll give you an opinion on it. But right now, I'm not exactly sure. I know Katie Hobbs is doing an amazing job. I know that much. All right, Alan. We're going to give you the last word. Love you, Texas Paul. People vote early, making cheating harder. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When we vote, we win. We win. On that, enjoy some Texas cities at night.